how you behave outside of sales is going to affect the results that you start getting inside of sales. In other words, there is no delineation between your personal life and your professional life. And if you imagine how big of a two parts of your life those two things are, and specifically the part of your life that's your personal life, maybe that's 80% of your life. And the actual selling part is 20% of your life, maybe by hours, maybe by attention. If I'm telling you, and you choose to believe, or do your own research, as they say, that your personal life is going to impact your professional life, and that personal life is 80% of your entire life, and your sales life is 20%, how large of an impact is that having on everything that you experience as a salesperson? Give you an example. If you choose to live in a shit house or a small apartment because you're afraid of investing in yourself, you're afraid of leveling up, or you just tell yourself, hey, you know what, man, this will do. This is fine. I don't need a nicer place. You might think those choices and those decisions don't impact a prospect that has no idea where you fucking live. And you would be mistaken. And that ignorance, that willful blindness that I am now removing you from being able to say, oh, hey man, I just didn't know. I'm removing you from that ignorance of saying these things just aren't part of my sales process. No, you need to zoom out and see the holistic terrain for what it actually is, which is every decision you make for every prospect affects every other prospect, and every decision you make in every aspect of your personal life also affects every aspect of your professional life. So the key modus operandi that you should be living, whether you're talking to one prospect or another prospect, doing something in your personal life or doing something in your professional life, is what we call self-actualized selling. Self-actualized selling, which means the self-actualized is me, my life. Am I actualizing? In other words, am I getting better? Am I evolving? Am I leveling up? Am I pushing myself to grow? That is what we teach inside the Unicorn Closer Mastermind, not because it's a cool catchphrase or not because we want to teach people about spirituality, but because we want to teach salespeople and closers how to make as much money as possible. And the way to make as much money as possible is to become the best version of yourself, which means when you're on a call with one prospect and you just think, you know what, I actually don't think this person should buy, or I don't think this person should buy right now. I'm actually going to tell them, hey, we are not aligned, and because of that, I have no offer to make you. Making that decision, being able to make that decision, being focused on self-actualizing enough to make that decision might lose you one sale right now, but it will return to you 10 times more positiveness or benefits in the way of other prospects, or it might bleed out the other direction and go from you did something right in sales in your professional life, and that's going to have an impact in your personal life. Maybe something with your friends or your family or a romantic partner just suddenly improves. Everything is holistic. Everything is connected. And the spiritual side of sales, the fact that everything is connected, is what I personally found the most thrilling. It was the idea that, you know what, I can make money in my profession by focusing on everything outside of my profession as much, if not more, than just the sales skills or just the sales tactics. In other words, I wasn't in that doomed situation that most people are in where they're like, I'm working on my career, I'm working on my profession, but I'm not growing as a person. I'm not expanding, I'm not exploring, I'm not adventuring into new realms. And for me, selling was this unbelievably unavoidable gift of, wow, if I actually realized, which my mentor taught me, that everything is connected, I now have to, and I get to, which is a key phrase. It's not I have to, it's wow, I get to do this. I get to work on myself. I get to work on my beliefs. I get to work on my mindset. I get to work on my physical health. I get to work on my daily activities, my habits and my routines. I get to work on my personal friendships. I get to work on my personal relationships. I get to work on my relationship with my family. I get to work on everything because my professional and personal life are interconnected. So the spiritual side of sales is something that if you truly want to make as much money as possible, you cannot view the spiritual side of sales as some woo-woo meditation, Joe Dispenza law of attraction type of stuff that you read in a book. You should view it as the central grounding foundation of your sales career, which is everything I do, every choice, every decision, whether I'm on a sales call with one prospect, on a sales call with another prospect, or doing something in my personal life, I need to make the best possible decision. That is why inside the Unicorn Closer Mastermind, the first thing we teach is the internal mastery, which is your state, your emotions, which is your goals, your direction, your vision, your mission. It's your health. It's your habits and routines. It's your beliefs. It's your environment. It's all of the things that make up you as a person, who you are and how you operate in life. Because all of those things are going to send messages to the universe, which is also plugged in to all of your prospects that you have right now on your calendar and will have forever in the future on your calendar. So, all of that to say, if you want to make more money, self-actualized selling is the only way to maximize your money. Because if the alternative is you take every single individual sales call and just focus on what do I need to do on this sales call to close the deal, ignoring the very harsh reality that every decision you make in a silo, in one sales call, the 30-minute discovery or the 45-minute entire call, is going to bleed out into every other part of your life, and every decision you make in your personal life is going to bleed into every single lead and sales call and person that you end up interacting with. So this is why we teach this inside the Unicorn Closer Mastermind, because as I said, everything is connected. So the spiritual side of sales, if you want to tap into that so that not only do you get to become your own hero on your own hero's journey, becoming the best version of yourself, but you also get to make as much money as possible in the process.